Hi, this is Diana Gray. I'm the Community Marketing Manager for Americas at UiPath. And I'm going to pull up my screen here and share my presentation. Okay. So today we're going to be talking about the UiPath community. And this is mainly focused for the veterans program. So we want to know from you if you have any questions in particular about activities you can do. We're really here to serve you. So are really interested in what types of things you're interested in. So we will have a bit of a discussion at the end, just to kind of find out what your needs are so we can make sure that we tailor this for that. But I think I'm going to get going today. I've introduced myself. I'm Diana. I'm the Community Marketing Manager for the Americas. And then also with us, we have Anna Maria Bolhack. She's from Romania, and she's our community intern here at UiPath. And we have Jeremy Gilliland, who is one of our MVPs. And he's from Austin, not Austin, San Antonio, Texas, if I remember correctly. And then we have Vina Levon Nadar, and he's the technical lead from Accelerate out of New Jersey, I believe. So let me go. The next slide. So let me just go through a little bit about the community. Wonder if this has a so basically our community actually, when we started this year is at 2.5 million professionals. And it's a global community, so we have it in every region. But we've just surpassed 3 million professionals within the last, I think like 4 years. But that we hit that mark this year. And we also what makes up our community is professionals, customers, partners, students, just really anybody who wants to engage and be part of automation and the automation journey with UiPath. So one way that there's many ways that people get involved with UiPath community, but we do have developer events and hackathons. As a matter of fact, we just ended our 2024 global hackathon with the community, and that was on agentic uh, automation. So those results should be out tomorrow. People can help create content, and we'll show you how you can do that. But there is access to blogs that people create tutorials for, or they might just have good automation for good stories that they want to share. They also create a lot of videos on how to do things with automation, on all kinds of programs and different products they use. And then also just how automation helps organizations or can create ways for people to not be burdened by tasks that they do all day. And then a lot of use cases. So we have use cases that are posted out on our forum on different areas, different topics. And again, it's a wide range, but the thing that's so neat about our community is that people share what they're working on. And then it's available for anybody to use or review to get ideas from. Another thing we have here at UiPath is we have an MVP program, our most valuable professionals and champions, and we do a lot of recognition because they're amazing to us. They are people who are not part of UiPath. They usually have jobs either as independent consultants outside, their partners, customers. They just represent a whole lot of different customers and partners and interest outside of UiPath. And so we value their opinion on our products. We value their participation in our events. We value the brainstorming capabilities they bring with us when they come and join us for our meetings. And so we have a lot of recognition around those champions. And then we also do learning on our academy and getting certified. The training that we do is all for free. So We really like to let people know about that. It's a huge value. It comes with videos. Sometimes the certification test come with pre-qualifying questions prior to taking the test. We have a lot of self-paced training that you can take, and that rolls up into a learning path so that you know that when you're done with that learning path and there's a certification at the end of it, you're pretty well guaranteed that you have the correct content you need in order to pass that certification. And then we also have the forum support and product engagement. And again, the nice thing about that is it's open to anybody globally. So people will respond to that in different languages. They'll respond within 24 hours, depending on where they are in the world. They'll respond to questions on products or engagement or support or activities or just interest items, from all over. So it's really a lot of fun. A lot of people know each other, even across the world. So, you'll a lot of times see people just start conversations and stuff, and a lot of people join in. So again, a great way to get involved and enjoy the community globally. So one of the other things we do with the UiPath community is we just ask people to go to the main page, because the main page is where everything kind of starts from. And I'm just going to stop this slide for a second and see if I can get into here to show you kind of what our main UiPath page look like. Can you see that?
Yep.
Okay, great. So this is our website, and here we have a carousel where you can see different banners on what's happening. Right now, I'm running a business analyst associate series program, but we'll always put things up here that we're interested in sharing with the community. You can see there's spotlights here. This is the release that we just did on the product release. And up here, you'll see a lot of different tabs. So we have an event tab where you can find out what's coming up. We have the veterans program here. So if you're interested in anything veterans program, you just go down here, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of different programs we run. You might want to be involved in the Woman in Automation. You might want to be involved in the AI Associate Developer Series. Those are all opportunities for you to get involved. The academy is here, and this is where you'll find your training, your certification. There's an academic alliance we work for or work with, and they are the people who work with the instructors to teach automation in classrooms and help them, aid them. We also have different resources that we have here. We have a welcome guide. We have the forum I talked about earlier, the blog. I'm going to come back to the forum in a minute because that's a little bit more. We have YouTube videos, different things that we can do. And then we have ways you can contribute to the community. So I already mentioned the most valuable professional, and I'm going to have Anna Maria and Vina Levon talk a little bit more about that. We also have a student developer champion program. So we do train students from time to time around the world as well. We have chapter leaders. So on this, I can show you that I personally have 23 chapters in America. And each one of these is a different chapter, and you can be part of that if you're interested in hosting virtual and live events for people. And those can be on any range of topics as well. So we'll wait, and you guys can ask questions on those if you have any. And then we have different ways to search, obviously here on the series as well. But you'll just see, if you just come under the first page, you'll see a lot of different events. You can search by city, you can search by topic, you can search by what the time zone is. This is in Mexico, this is virtual, this is New York. And you can just do all the searching down here all the way. And then if you want to go to the forum again, you can come here. And what you're going to find when you go to the forum is just a wealth of information. There's different categories, there's badges that you can get. You can find out help on the products. You can find any kind of news that we're putting out there for people to know. These are live like chat links that will come up just to remind you that we have things happening and what you might want to be involved in. So it's kind of like the hot topics. Here I just talked to you about the hyper hack winners, so we can find out the wait is over. Here's our big news here. And I would like to just say, because I knew this, but America won, prize one with Kabatica for UiPath Agentic Automation category, which is fantastic. So if you go back then to the forum, you can just get back and look at different things, release notes, subcategories. We have a different things here also for the job board use cases, a lot of tutorials. This is again on the blogs and stuff. So just a lot of information. I'm going to stop there and just let Anna Maria start talking a little bit to Vina Levant about what it's like to be an MVP. But before I go there, does anybody have any questions so far on what we've covered? No. Okay. And just also when we're talking about this, these topics, if you guys have any questions or just some points you'd like us to cover or anything, just feel free to go to chat and just jot it down just as a note that we can respond to if you guys are interested. So Anna Maria, with that, I'm going to turn it over to you.
So, hello everyone. Thanks for joining today's session. Now, I'm going to ask Vino Livan some questions. First of all, Vino, thank you for being on this journey with us as an MVP in the community. Now, the first question that I would like to ask is, what was your first contact with the UiPath community like, and how did it come down to becoming an MVP?
Hey, thank you so much, Maria. So I started UiPath as a developer. It is back in 2016, that time, right? So UiPath is one of the product where I find people are very much approachable, right? So I can still remember back in those days where I have to do a studio, sorry, the orchestrator install. So the product manager was with me on the call, in guiding me through. It was back in the days. So you can just relate to that how how people are approachable in UiPath and back, right now the community and the team is actually so big. Even right now, if I want to, get to know about something very quick, I can directly reach out to some, people around and I can get that information. So one of the big benefit I find with UiPath is if I want to get things done, if I want to find certain information out, it is very much accessible. And that is not only about with the product owners, right? It's also about the forum that we have. So imagine if you want to, find a quick solution about anything. If you have a, stuck into a problem, and if I want to get out of, finding a technical solution of it, I can go to forum, right? So yeah.
Awesome. And from when you joined until now, do you have any memorable moments that you still remember, made everything better for you?
There is one moment actually. This is back in time when I was in India. It's been a year for me in coming to US. So back in India, I can still remember a program that I hosted. It was around, new features on 2022 release, right? And one of the interesting feature around there was, document understanding across unstructured information across, right? It was very much new to me, to learn this technology, and it was also very much fascinating for me to share this in a forum where I can bring out this information quickly to anyone, right? So UiPath actually is very much, approachable in this case as well. Yeah, it's not only about you can get to know about information, but also if you want to share about, what you have been through, the best practices that you've learned in this domain so far. Here is a community where, there are people are like us who want to know more. We can come together and we can, share that information across. So one such time was, where I was able to share this information across the team and, it actually helped in with that collaborative learning.
Awesome. Yeah. So since we have probably our like attendees are beginners. And I want to ask, why do you think automation is important and how do you use it in your job?
Well, that is a very obvious question in how the technology is growing, right?
Yeah,
Everyone wants to automate their stuff. Everyone wants to be more productive, right? Everyone wants to, be in that forefront. So automation is very much basic now. It is across any team or any domain that you go through. It is very much basic. It's like even with the business user who are very much traditional, right now they are also want to use automation for their day-to-day life. And with that, UiPath is the absolute right platform where you can start learning this technology right from day one, right?
yeah,
Because it provides you with the free courses and more to that, it is the only platform, it's one of the platform that will give free access to the platform, right? Now that's a big thing. If you want to learn like something like a cloud platform, you have to have that instance within you, that you have to spend some dollars in getting that instance. But here the entire platform is free of cost. It's just a matter of you to get download and you just experimenting along. And also the courses are very much premium. You can go to the academy, you can sign up and you can get started with right from the basic and you can learn things around. So with that, it actually helps out with the learning curve. And in fact, back in that my time in India, there was a program called Second Innings. Now, this was especially for, the parents, the maternity parents who took like a big career gap, like 3 or 5 or more than 10 years. Now, if these people wants to get back into the technology, right, they want to have a platform where it is, very much easily, where the contents are easily available, where in the platform they can actually experiment, they can have some hands-on to it. So UiPath was one of the most preferable technology or the tool where these people came up with. So again, it's a very great platform, and again, the content is really great. In the if you want to get started, it is just a matter of getting into the academy to get started. And also, if you have some questions around, you can always reach out to the MVP like us. We are very much helpful to guide you in the next steps. Yeah.
yeah, awesome. It's definitely a whole ecosystem that like anyone can benefit from in their own way. Like no matter how you want to learn, you can find a way to learn. So that's very important. So thank you for saying all of that. Now I have one last question before I open it for everyone to ask their own questions. So what is one lesson that you've learned during your journey in automation?
Well, there are, a sea full of things to say around with the automation, right? But at the end, it's all about, of how we are making an impact to the users around, right? With the automation, you're not only building a technology solution, but it is about of how you're improving the day-to-day life of an end user, right? It can be as simple as a small automation that can pick up an email and reply to building an end-to-end automation. All through this, you're kind of adding a value into this space, into the technology space, and also to the end user. I find that is kind of uh, one of the primary pillar of how how we can benefit through automation. And again, being a part of this community involved, it is actually a collaborative learning.
Yeah.
It's more like, what I have learned through this platform over the time. I get just, way where I can, communicate. I can tell that to the people around, that actually uh, strives me in growing. So with all these years in UiPath, it has been that learning experience for me, and also to share, like 2 cents of what I've learned from this platform.
Awesome. So I loved hearing about your journey with us, and thank you so much for taking the time to answer my questions. Now, if anyone else has any questions, I also have some questions for the participants. I will put them in the chat in a few moments. So thank you again, Vinolivan.
Yeah, I got one question, direct question from Parvati. So
Yeah,
the question is, yeah, Parvati, do you mind asking that question?
yeah. So I said like UiPath automations like day-to-day basis is fine, but now how the AI is changing the nature of work. And I saw you have went to the Las Vegas about all this. I saw on your profile how the AI is enhancing, right? If possible, if how can you tell me like what steps should be taken for us to move on that path?
It's a very interesting question. So we are talking about yeah, automation and AI for a while, and we can see finally it has been there, right? We can see how technologies has been growing, has been shifted up, and right now we have many things coming through AI, and one of the primary things that in the next year will be a focus is the agentic AI, is the agentic automation. So obviously, you need to know the basics around these technologies. Before going into agentic automation, I will say that you need to know the basics around, what are LLMs, how they actually function, how they can be integrated within an RPA tool, and some of the fundamentals around the agentic concept in itself, of how this system is able to not only generate the content, but it is able to at the end take some action on your behalf, right? So that is the fundamental way where you can go about it. And again, UiPath has actually started to publish some of the courses around these technologies, of at least how we can get to the basics of these technologies and get started. I think in the year to come there is still going to be a lot of content around around how we can build these tools and systems around AI. That is something which you'll need to have a closer look out for.
So I think in the academy we see about the Gen AI, about the intelligent document processing, but I haven't seen any of the agentic AI courses or something. So it's just like a document, like what is the difference between the Gen AI and the agent AI. But if you want to know what is happening with the agent AI, agentic AI, do you have any resources?
There is one course in UiPath that is called Selling and something around selling with agentic automation. That actually gives you out a very good level of information on what agentic AI is and what are the different use cases that agentic AI can solve. I mean, that is one of the basic thing that you can go about with that. And the other thing is, if you want to know more about these technologies, you can you need to kind of sign up and you need to kind of look out for this information across.
Sure. If possible, can you share the link for that agentic AI?
So will do.
Yeah, and Parvarthi, as we start developing the veterans chapter, which you guys are in, we'll start adding more content. So if there's something that you want to learn about, if you want us to do a topic on Gen AI, if you want us to do a topic on, agentic, if you, whatever it is, if it's studio, we're happy to go find somebody and do that because other people can benefit as well. So just remember that we all learn together and people learn at different rates and everything. And we're, again, a lot of times when you have a topic you want us to talk about, other people want to join as well. So always feel free to reach out to me or, somebody on the team and just let us know.
Thank you, Diana. You're always
Yeah,
there to help. Thank you so much.
yeah. So I know Anna Maria is going to put some questions in the chat that you guys can maybe answer a little bit. I'm going to go back. If Anna Maria, are you done? Have you asked all your questions to Vino?
Yeah.
Right
Yeah,
now?
I did. And I put a few questions. I wanted to mention that I put a few information about Agentic. I put the link to the keynote from Forward, which is the biggest event that happens annually in UiPath. So you might want to check that out, especially Daniel's presentation. It's 1 hour long. It's very informative. about
Thank you.
agentic automation. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm just going to share a few more slides in the deck, and then we still have Jeremy to talk to too, so we have plenty more to go through. But there's a lot of reasons to join the UiPath community. Can you guys see my screen okay?
Yep.
And I'm just going to mainly talk from a professional point of view, but you really get the latest news on AI automation. So the other thing about being an MVP is they get a lot of access, as you do through the community, to speakers. We just talked about, if you're interested in Gen AI, we'll put on a topic for you. We'll do a session for you. And if we need to pull in somebody from UiPath, who's a product expert, we will, which is really unusual in a company. They typically don't go to their executive staff or their primo product people if they want just to do a grassroots type of meeting, but we will. I will. So that's something very unusual about UiPath, and I think it's what makes it great. Because you can actually talk to executives here without a problem. And I think you get, really get your answers to the questions that you really need that way, which makes it easier for you to really kind of know what is true and follow that path versus wasting a lot of time. There's tons of ways here that you can practice and grow your skills, meet like-minded people. So the network here is one of the most amazing ones I've ever been part of. And I think it's really an interesting thing because it's such a cool technology that, people want to learn together. People want to put stuff together and watch the robots do new things and, do amazing things, quite frankly. And there's always some task that you can capture where the robots can help, like alleviate, that redundancy from your day to day. So those are things that, it's fun working on a team, trying to figure those things out. And then again, we talked about getting recognized for your contributions. We do have three main parts of our community. APJ, or Asia, it has the most amount of developers there, just so you know. And then we have EMEA and America, which are about equal, but they're growing all the time. But there's still quite a large audience. And again, we've gone past this number anyway. We're at 3 million now, so that's just a note for you too. We've mentioned the forum, but one thing I didn't mention is the insider. So there is a way you can join the insider, which is straight to what the product team has to let you know about. It talks about demos of the latest capabilities and product release information. And there's ways that you can add to that or make comments to that information that they share with you and actually help change the way the product is based on your knowledge of the product and how it's working in your environment. And our MVPs can talk to you more about that. We did talk about the academy. This is really important because you can get content and learning on just about everything we have, which is amazing. We have many certifications that you can sign up for. Again, you have to pay for the certification itself, but typically the training, let's just say for the UiPath developer associate, let me see, for this one right now I'm doing, so I can talk to this one. So this is a brand new certification. It's for the UiPath Certified Business Analyst Associate. And basically this is about 15 hours of training. And back in the day, I think if you would have taken, 15 hours of training, that would have cost you about $3,000 a week, plus the certification cost 150. So you save so much money taking the training at UiPath, which the cost for the courses is nothing. And then you pay $150 for the certification to get the certification. And the only reason for that is because it has to be authorized through a industry recognized certification dealer. that does that outside of UiPath, and that's where the cost comes in, because you want that type of professional certification to make sure that you have that industry standard, which everybody knows about and accepts across the industry, which is why that cost is in there. We talked about the blogs that UiPath does and how people explore our community. They talk about we have great articles and tutorials on how to do things like use Gen AI or autopilot, or all the things you might have questions about. It's nice to figure out how somebody else did it, so then you can use that information to maybe expand your own knowledge. And then we talked about YouTube. We videotape all of our sessions, so there's a lot of information out there. And then again, we talk about on the forum the community releases, autopilots. We went through that a little bit. We also have a state of the automation professional report we do every year. We've been doing it for 4 years now, which is amazing because we literally have data that talks about year-over-year changes, trends, where people are going, how people view automation, and you can get copies of all of those. So this is something, again, we do every year. It's an amazing report, and it really is lengthy, so it really has some great data that you can use. Here's one piece of data from the report. It's why UiPath. Why these are real reasons why developers are choosing it. It's because it's user friendly. It's community. It's ease of learning. It's flexible. It's scalable. And you can read this yourself, but it's interesting again to see how things change over time and who's using it. Is it more men or women, or is it students or IT professionals? But very interesting data comes across. This is the MVP program that we run once a year that Anna Maria was talking to Vina Levan about. This year we have 25 MVPs in the Americas and 125 globally. And they're still determining what number they'll have next year. So this is a huge win and something you can get involved in. I talked about our executive staff and how we can meet him, and there he is. That's Daniel Dines. He's the head of the company, and he's with all of our MVPs at Forward. And then we have a lot of fun. We do have some live get-togethers with some of our community members. So we like bringing them together and having them in classrooms and kind of letting them hear about the latest and greatest from product experts, and then also ask them for their opinions, and to be candid on improvements we can make or what kinds of things they like or don't like. And then this is just how you can get a hold of the community, community.uipath.com. And the other thing I think is really important is just we have some really good slide decks, information that sometimes for me it's easier to learn if I have like a presentation in front of me where I can look at the slides and kind of figure it out that way. And these are always available for all the sessions I record. I try to get slide decks and add those as a wrap up, which I put the wrap up URL in your chat today, but this is something that will be available to you. You can look back on it, refer to it, and we keep them up on the site for a long time. So if you think like 6 months down the road, oh, what was that thing that Diana was talking about? You can actually go back to the session you watched, pull down that slide deck and see it. So I think that's pretty cool. And it just talks about, you know, different things, different ways of looking at AI, and just a lot of historical information as well as a lot of new information. And again, I just threw these in here, but we didn't reach our 3 million mark, and then our community has grown. So Daniel Dines has more people to meet. This is our last year at Forward. The first one I showed you, I think, was our first year at Forward. So you can see how our community is growing, and our executive staff is still there, but they're being surrounded by more people. So with that, I'm going to stop and ask if you guys have any more questions, and then I'm going to have Jeremy talk a little bit.
There are some questions in the chat. Parvati, thank you so much for answering. And she also has a question. So she says she's currently focused on re-entering the workforce after a career break. Any support or guidance on navigating this transition would mean a lot to me. So how can she get back on track after this career break?
So I think there's a lot of ways. I think one is definitely doing what you're doing, which is being part of the veterans program. Another way that I think you can get on track is start by learning the basics, which we did one session in this chapter on purpose. It was on Studio, but you can, you can take that and then figure out what are the next places to go. So for people in this program, if you have a question like that, I would be willing to even set you up with a mentor, an MVP who basically has started over, was in the same situation that you were in, and may have some great advice on what steps you can do now. So I will definitely put my email in the chat that you can reach out to me if you want. And then start taking training, start looking at learning paths, start figuring out like where you want to go. Definitely start networking with people on the forum, because that's a great way to meet people in like companies, people you might not know from companies. So I will tell you, I met somebody who did not have a job, was re-entering the workforce, and they just asked for informational interviews from people on forum, that of ways that they could connect, and they set up several meetings with different people, just to get their perspective and figure out ways that they thought they could connect with the training, but also what events were happening in their areas, that kind of thing. So depending on where you live, we have multiple chapters. That might be something else you want to do, is join one of those chapters as well. Let's say you live in Austin, Texas. We have like 3 Texas chapters, but then you're from Delaware. Okay. So, so we'd have to map that out. Like, where's that closest to? And, what's a good way to kind of start branching out there and meeting people. And that's kind of how I would get going. But mainly I would stick with the training, the certification for starters. And then maybe collaborating, like helping us write a blog, or becoming a chapter leader. That's always good way to meet people. Those kinds of things. What do you think, Jeremy?
Yeah, no, I think that that's an excellent way to start, right? I found myself in this current situation years ago when I was trying to transition out of the military, right? Wasn't necessarily a career break, but when you go from such a drastic change, right, I wasn't quickly accepted into the field. And I think the way that I would have answered this question 10 years ago when RPA was getting started is different than I would answer it today. Back then, the field was growing so rapidly that I would have just said, pick up the tool, start learning the tool, because you're going to get an opportunity if you know the base tool, right? But the market's changed. The secret's out. People know about RPA, and even where before you could have no computer science background and just walk into a gig, with the flood of computer science talent across all these technologies, what I would recommend doing is that we're sort of at this reset point in automation space where agents are taking the main stage. And it's giving an opportunity for people to, again, break into this field. But what I would also recommend, outside of everything, all the excellent advice that Diana just shared, once you get a firm foundation of the tool, I would start looking to getting skills in certain specializations, right? The tool's gotten so big that not everybody's an expert in everything. So I would consider like document understanding. I think that Vino even mentioned that he's kind of working on some document understanding type projects. I think those still have plenty of opportunities where you take my team, for instance, a dozen or so people. I only have 1 or 2 who can do document understanding, right? The rest of the team isn't cross-trained. So once you have a good foundation in the tool, I'd say focus on, if you're interested, I heard you mention quite a few questions about agentic. So I would sign up for the insider portal. I would understand what UiPath, as Anna mentioned. I'd go look at that forward conversation, understand where Daniel says the company's going in agentics, and then I would start learning some of those tools. If they're getting into agentics and that's where they're dedicated, then I'd look at context grounding and understand, how do I set up automations with context grounding? What does that even mean? And I think what you'll find is, if you kind of dig into these new forward-facing products, there's not going to be a lot of competition, or not a lot of people who are experts in this space, because it's just getting started. So that's what I would say, Diana, is to add a little bit of context around what you were mentioning. And I also noticed too that what are the typical employments and career paths for new certified developers? Are there freelancing opportunities to get some experience? And use cases are really interesting. I was looking at resources and logistics. So there's lots of information online that you can find use cases on. Even UiPath's platform, and the forums have a lot of use case examples. To answer your question about freelancing opportunities, there are, but that space is still being developed. You can find companies on LinkedIn that have their own RPA-based freelancing networks, and they have clients. And so you need to find out which organizations have those freelancing ones. It'd be kind of hard to get one yourself. The reason I wanted to answer that question is because I get approached almost daily with people in foreign countries asking if they can freelance on Southern Glazers, my organization's RPA work. And the short answer, due to business law, is no, you can't, right? Unless my company does business in a foreign country and has a business license to do work there, they can't hire freelance workers from that country and pay them, right? So I get asked a lot about freelance work. I think it's a new emerging field in this space, but it's kind of hard. That being said, this technology serves organizations of all sizes. So, a problem that an organization with 10 or 30,000 employees experiences, a small company with 30 employees still doesn't. So if you're in a geographical region where nobody has access to RPA, or they're not using it, I guarantee you could find ways to build your own business to service geographical regions that are currently underserved with this technology, whether it's hospitals, blood banks, whatever. I'm sure that lots of people are still not using this. And so that's another way to find freelance opportunities, is look for small businesses.
Yeah, and the nice thing about this technology is you can actually learn and show examples of how you're saving time, how you're saving, and walk into a company and actually share that information with them. And then I think through networking, I know a lot of people have gotten jobs. There's a lot of consulting companies. There's a lot of people who have expertise in certain areas of automation, like document understanding or studio or orchestrator. So it's kind of carved up a little bit into different areas, I think,
Yep.
where, you also can also just post on your LinkedIn. I've seen people do that as well. You not only use LinkedIn to find a job, but post on your LinkedIn in different areas. And I think that's where that forum comes in, because you can let them know you're looking for a job. You can put it on the job board. You can, that's a community of 3 million people, who like RPA, who are involved in it. So those are some other areas for that, Jeremy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've always been a huge advocate of this platform, having worked with it for over a decade, right? Because as it was mentioned earlier, the Learning Academy is free. You can pick it up and learn yourself. You don't require, a teacher to kind of coach you up on it. And if you ever run into a scenario where you don't understand the material, or you don't understand some of the practice builds that they're doing in the training, then there's a forum, right? And you quickly go in there and post your questions or what you don't understand, and within an hour, you're going to get a response. So it's all up to you being able to kind of leverage it. And I think that having that community, right, that's one reason that I was pulled to even join UiPath's community in the first place. Back in the military, it's easy to find your own sort of group as you are working, and you're able to find your networks and relationships. But when I got out of the military, I didn't have any of that, and I had to kind of start over. And finding out other people that are on similar career paths, that are out there and searching and looking and kind of taking this journey, became very rewarding, right? Being able to work with people who just got into space. I've also helped other people get jobs who were like one of the members in the chat who were in the middle of a career transition. They weren't doing this kind of work before, but they give them an opportunity and they break out in this space and do really well, right? It's rewarding to see people getting into this field, and it's not slowing down, right? There, as Diana mentioned, if you're looking for opportunities, look at consulting organizations. They continue to have openings. I got approached by a consulting company less than 2 weeks ago who just signed a large contract with the federal government, and they were going to be building out a team of 50, right? So there's 50 new open jobs that they mentioned to me that I'm aware of. And so, as Diana mentioned, if you build out your network and you're connected, you might build relationships with people who know about these opportunities, right? And sometimes you won't see them online. So I definitely advocate for both the community and then the people in it, right? Like she said, Diana mentioned, reach out, have conversations with people. A lot of the times your new opportunity is not one that gets posted on a job board, right? It might be through somebody that you meet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then I think the neat thing about this is a chapter. So a chapter is something that is a particular network of people. So this is a chapter for veterans. It's around automation. It's brand new. So you guys can help us decide what the parameters of this are, which is really unique. So the goal here is we're going to bring in MVPs to help train. Jeremy can talk a little bit about being a veteran, I think, but also we have people at UiPath who are veterans. So, that's kind of an honor in itself that you have people who are looking out for you. You can decide what kind of parameters you want us to build. And there's also community activities we can include in this too for some fun. So this is something that, I think as veterans, you guys have a huge not opportunity and also, kind of a neat platform to kind of help figure out what you want it to look like.
Yeah.
And how we can help additional veterans over time, how we can establish some, guidelines to make sure that people are, feeling really comfortable that we're teaching them the right thing. We might want to do 2 levels and always have like a basic course every year where we onboard people and then do something more advanced. And this also can be, what are veterans doing out there? How are they using automation? We can open this platform up for brainstorm discussions. There's so much opportunity, and it's really up to the community to help build the community. I always feel like you can't be part of a community unless you're like really open to being part of it. You're either part of the solution or part of the problem. And if you want to be part of the solution, then you have to like be engaged. So what do you think, Jeremy, about having this platform?
Yeah, no, it's been an incredible opportunity, right? I think that not just the value that I get from being in it that's personal, right? That comes back to me. Like obviously there's the recognition and having the opportunity to speak at the Forward this year, right? Where I was invited to have a session there was probably one of the highlights of my entire professional career. And so, getting to knock something off of your bucket list and then being able to go to these events like Diana showed with the pictures where you literally have the people that are shaping the software give you a platform to share your ideas and what's working and not working when you actually do this work every day. It definitely makes you feel valuable. It makes you feel like you're being heard. And again, as I mentioned, trying to find a sense of purpose or a sense of community outside of the military can often be a tall feat. And so when you get to meet people like Vina, who are also a passionate person who leverages this technology for everyday work, but also finds it as a passionate career field that's going to provide for him and other people around him, right? And then he gets the opportunity to be on events like this, right? These are just some of the small things. And your companies recognize that you do this, right? When I was offered the opportunity to speak it forward, my organization sent out an email, spotlighting that, right? So it just leads to further advantages, right? They call it cumulative advantage, right? Being able to take this and parlay it into other opportunities. And so I think that it's all in what Diana says. You get in what you put in, and to me, it's been life changing. I shared in the first session. Feel free to go back and listen to the recording that I was damn near homeless. I almost went during my career transition. Almost went to where I was living on the streets or living in my car. and I got an opportunity on an RPA team, right, before I even knew what it was, right? It literally changed my life. And I believe that there are people out there who, need that same opportunity. And I know that the military members who serve their country and then want to transition, right, sometimes they don't know how or what to do. So all these beautiful people like Ann and Diana, all these people who helped in the first week of the session, these amazing human beings, right? They're here to support all these people who are trying to make those transitions. So yeah, I love it. I couldn't speak highly about the program itself or the mission that not just this community, but all the communities that we've created are trying to do. So yeah.
Mhm. Thanks,
Mhm.
Jeremy. Yeah, so any other questions from the audience that we can help with?
Yes, I just see I mentioned a question from a beginner who is wanting to improve quickly and learn the basics of AI. Again, document understanding, right? Again, reach out to NVPs. Vino on here is working on document understanding as we speak. You probably can't maybe share some of the client details, but I guarantee you could give you a rundown on the platform, what works, what he likes about it, what's not working, and also could probably give you a connection with the product team that if you sign up for insiders might be able to get you some free AI units, or you could do some testing, right? Test out some of your own models on DU. So again, reach out to MVP program. They'll be able to connect you with people or the resources you need to build whatever you're interested in building so you can learn your skill set.
Yeah, and I just put my email in chat for everybody. So if you guys have trouble getting started, let me know. If you want me to, I'll send you to Vino, I will.
There you go.
But but that's part of this, is just to make those connections so that if you have a particular area you want to learn about, again, I'm happy to run a session and bring in a couple of our top experts on document understanding, communication mining. There's 2 introductory courses out there, so I would suggest you take those and then come back and set up a meeting with us, and just say, let's do a beginning meeting on this so I can make sure I'm clear about
Yep.
what I learned, and have them do like a demonstration and walk you through it. Or you can show them what you're doing and do your demonstration and have them validate it. I mean, we're open for anything really. So it's a huge opportunity. Yeah.
Yep. Agreed.
So hopefully that helps you guys. Our whole goal of today's session was to let you know, number one, there is a ton of things you can do in our community. There's a ton of ways to get involved. And I think for me, the most important things on a community are, one, meeting people, and starting to make friends and starting to make a network. And then the second one is starting to learn things, because I think the two go hand in hand, and we're very friendly. We're also not like pariah. We won't pounce on you every 2 seconds, but it's really up to you, how fast you want to go, how much you want to learn, and how much you want to get involved. That's all open to you. That's all we can offer. The rest isn't. This is an opportunity for you guys to take advantage of if you want to. So you have our information. We're going to continue to run sessions in this community, the veterans community. If you guys want to be part of that, let us know at a different level, like be chapter leaders, or, I'm welcome to take calls or set up a meeting with anybody, who just wants to do a little bit more. And, I think that's about it, unless you guys have any more questions, but we're going to continue to support this chapter and work to bring more people into it. And I think that's a benefit for all of us. Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay. So I think, unless there's um any other things we can think of, I think we're good. And again, the recording will be available tomorrow. So thank you everybody for joining us today. We hope to see you again soon, and don't forget to reach out. We're always here to support you. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thank
Bye.
you.